In this video, I'm going to tell you how much XRP you need to become a millionaire in the coming years, from now until the end of the next cycle, basically by the year 2030. Stay until the end of the video. I don't know if you're going to like what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to tell you the truth. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. And I'm telling you this right now, but I don't want you to do it just yet. If you're enjoying the video, finding it entertaining, or if it's simply useful to you, please like and subscribe because it helps me a lot. And so, let's go straight to CoinMarketCap. The price of XRP is $2.15 with a market capitalization of nearly $130 billion, which puts it in the number 4 spot on CoinMarketCap. In the previous cycle, it reached the number 3 position and has even been in the number 2 spot, as we'll see a little later on. Over the past day on CoinMarketCap, it has dropped by almost 2%. In the past week, it's been break even, and over the last month, we've seen XRP or Ripple fall by nearly 10%. Currently, about 60% of its tokens are in circulation. And a little later on, we're also going to talk about the scroll, about Ripple, and how the token unlocking works. Some really important things we'll cover in this video to help you understand how many cryptocurrencies, how many XRP tokens you need to own to become a millionaire with XRP in the coming year. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. The first thing we need to consider is when XRP appeared. It's actually one of the oldest cryptocurrencies with one of the longest histories in the crypto space. It first emerged in 2012, but it didn't start trading on CoinMarketCap until August 2013, as we'll see a bit later on the screen. One of the oldest cryptocurrencies, even older than Ethereum, which holds the historical number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap XRP, actually came out even earlier. A lot of projects have launched since cryptocurrencies first appeared, but only 2 have been around since 2013. There are basically 2 or 3, really. Litecoin, XRP, Bitcoin, and that's pretty much it. In fact, we can see right here if we go directly to the 4th of August, 2013. And this introduction I'm giving you in the video is to put into perspective what XRP has meant for the cryptocurrency industry. It's been a revolution, something incredible, something that has been very positive overall for cryptocurrencies, even though it's had its bumps along the way. I repeat, the 4th of August, 2013. XRP, number 3, position on CoinMarketCap at a price of half a cent less than 1 cent per dollar. A circulating supply, and this is super important to keep in mind, of 7.8 billion coins with a market cap of $46 million. We're talking about August 2013, so that's an enormous market cap. Even from here, we can see that something doesn't quite add up when it comes to the launch of a cryptocurrency. What do I mean by this? When a cryptocurrency launches, when a meme coin comes out, when a new project is released, it usually starts with a market cap of 1 million, 2 million, maybe 5 million, considering the circulating supply it has at that moment, as well as how much money has been put into the liquidity pool. As a project has fewer fundamentals, less of a roadmap, and is really leaning more towards being a meme coin, that liquidity pool is going to be created with much less money. For every dollar that comes in, that cryptocurrency will probably go up more. For every dollar that leaves, that cryptocurrency will probably drop more, until at some point, more depth is added to the market, either by creating more liquidity pools to provide that depth or simply by adding more liquidity. In this case, we can see that XRP already appears with a good market cap, which tells us that for such a new project to already have a solid market cap relative to its circulating supply, resulting in that price means it's a project that is off to a good start, that is starting out solidly, and that it begins with a liquidity pool that's worthwhile. And now maybe some of you in the comments might say, Johnny, but I can create a token with $1 billion market cap and I can do it right now. All right, now go to an investment fund and try to raise money with that token you've created. Let's see if you can do it, and then let me know. Let's go straight to CryptoRank, because Ripple, which is currently at $2.17, has raised quite a bit of funding since it appeared in 2012 and started trading in 2013. A substantial total of $300 million, where we can clearly see some very important and influential players, some truly big players, such as the prominent Banco Santander, the significant CME Ventures, and the globally recognized Accenture, for example, are involved. These are companies that are very, very large, and this undoubtedly speaks very positively from a financial standpoint, because all of this is related to financial matters, to financial companies, regarding XRP, regarding Ripple. In the end, having Santander invest in you is nothing less than a seal of approval that you're doing things right. It's very different to have Santander invest in you than to have a business angel invest who is willing to take much bigger risks in a strategic round, and so on and so forth. Having Banco Santander invest in you simply means that your project, objectively speaking, is good, because these people don't just invest for the sake of investing, okay? So on that front, things were going very well. Ripple XRP, the cryptocurrency XRP, was off to a great start. In fact, it broke into the top 3 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap in a very short time. Guys, it's almost over now. Last day, 1 day, and 19 hours left until the WEEX exchange promotion without KYC ends. There's no KYC. It literally takes you 1 minute to create an account. You just need to make a deposit, transfer the money to your futures account, leave it there for 3 days, and then you'll get a review so you can receive the trading bonus. You can get up to $2,000 in trading bonuses by depositing up to $10,000. By making a deposit of up to $10,000 and putting it in your futures account, you'll get up to $2,000 in trading bonuses. Remember, you have to use that bonus within 7 days. You also need to link a phone number and an email, but it doesn't tie it to you as an individual. $1 million has come in. $1 million has come in. WEEX has had to distribute, they're going to kill me, I think. They've had to distribute $200,000 in trading bonuses. There have been some people who weren't chosen to receive these bonuses, but that's because they cheated. That's something you also need to keep in mind. So just do things right and you'll get that trading bonus of up to $2,000. Remember, there's only a day and a bit left. I'll be waiting for you inside WEEX. And now we move on to the next bit. We have to go straight to the end of 2017 and start in 2018. And as I've already mentioned, this whole introduction I'm giving you in this video is so you understand the price and the amount of XRP cryptocurrency tokens you need to become a millionaire with XRP as the years go by. We go straight to the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, when the first alt season appears, the first big alt season, the alt season year, because we had alt seasons before that. But the first major alt season was precisely at the end of 2017. When the previous cryptocurrency cycle ended, seeing XRP reach $3 and slip into the number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap. As we'll see a little later, why does this alt season happen? Well, precisely because of the ICO. There comes a point when initial coin offerings make it possible for you to invest in altcoins in a much easier way than investing in Bitcoin, which was the dominant cryptocurrency and still is today. In fact, if we go straight to the 7th of January, 2018, we can see XRP at almost $3 or $4 with a circulating supply that is no longer just 8 billion cryptocurrencies in circulation, but almost 40 billion cryptocurrencies. Every month, 1 billion XRP tokens are unlocked in an account they control. If by the end of the month, those XRP haven't been spent, they go back into the account and, let's say, get locked up again and don't count as part of the circulating supply. Otherwise, 100% of XRP tokens would already be unlocked, obviously. But notice how important this is. XRP reaches the number 2 position on CoinMarketCap. XRP achieved the largest market cap we've ever seen in the history of cryptocurrencies. And in 2021, one cycle later, no cryptocurrency except for Bitcoin and Ethereum managed to reach that market capitalization. Again, that is 130 billion in market cap. We had to wait until 2025. Obviously, excluding Tether, a stable coin, we had to wait until 2024 or 2025 to surpass that 130 billion market cap. And indeed, on the 7th of January, 2018, we had some cryptocurrencies that were very important at that time, like Bitcoin Cash, Cardano was just emerging, NEM, Tron, Stellar, IOTA, Dash. I started out during those times losing quite a bit of money, by the way. Well, I multiplied my portfolio and then lost absolutely everything. Why? Because I had no idea, because I didn't understand the things I'm talking to you about, for example, in this video that we're going to see a bit later. That's why if you're enjoying the video, please give it a like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if there's another cryptocurrency you'd like me to analyze over the years, and I'll share what I think could happen. Let's move straight on to something that's super important. Let's fast forward a little in time. The year 2018, XRP was incredible. XRP made it to the number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap, and we entered the next cycle. After the bear market in 2018, a slight recovery in the crypto market in 2019, and a new halving that took place on May 11, 2020. From that point on, a new cryptocurrency cycle began with a lot of anticipation around XRP. There was so much anticipation that at the time, and I experienced it myself, we thought XRP could easily reach $10 or $15 given how the pieces were arranged on the board back then. So what happened? We reached December 2020. Problems with the SEC, and I quote, "The legal conflict between Ripple Labs and the SEC began in December 2020 when the regulator filed a lawsuit alleging that XRP was an unregistered security and that the company had raised more than $1.3 billion in an unauthorized initial offering." Basically, illegal fundraising. All right, this SEC lawsuit was what dragged things down. And remember this date, December 2020, this weighed down XRP. December 2020, the second major alt season began, and it was the biggest alt season we've ever had in the history of cryptocurrencies, with Ethereum multiplying in value many times over, Cardano doing almost 50 times, Dogecoin ending the cycle at nearly 100 times, also pushed by Elon Musk and other cryptocurrencies in the CoinMarketCap top 100 that multiplied dozens and dozens of times, like Hedera Hashgraph, which at that time did 12.22x from May 2020 to November 2021. We can see that it's from this point on that XRP starts having problems with the SEC, and this weighs it down a lot. It was basically the same as what happened with ICOs in 2017 or 2018. There came a point when it was much more attractive to have your money in altcoins than in Bitcoin. Dominance drops and an alt season begins. In 2020 and 2021, the DeFi craze and the play-to-earn gaming boom led many regions around the world, Latin America, Asia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and other areas to want to get into cryptocurrencies in order to earn a living and support their families, which is absolutely fantastic. This caused the money that was stuck in XRP due to its problems to also move into other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot appeared, Solana appeared, Shiba Inu appeared, various cryptocurrencies emerged and took over the crypto market. So what ended up happening? On the 18th of April, 2021, XRP reached its local all-time high in the previous cycle, hitting a total of $1.4. And if we look at the entire month, it was a bit higher. But take a look at the following. Just one cycle, just a couple of years later, XRP already had 45 billion coins in circulation with a market cap of $63 billion. Keep this in mind. In the previous cycle, XRP reached almost $2. That's where it stayed. But in the cycle before that, it reached $3. But the thing is, when it first appeared, it was practically worthless. But it's also true that its circulating supply was much lower, precisely because of how this token unlocking mechanism works within XRP. And now we move on to the next point. We have to move forward in time and go straight to this side. What's happening with XRP right now and what has happened in 2024 in a very summarized way, because this has truly been an all-out battle that XRP ended up winning, that Ripple ended up winning. And it's from October 2024 onwards that the SEC files a notice of appeal seeking to overturn Judge Torres's ruling. And it's from that point that we literally reach March 2025, when it seems that XRP has 100% defeated the SEC. What have we seen since then? We've seen an XRP that in this cycle has reached an all-time high, reaching the price it hit in January 2018, almost $3.3, depending on the exchange, a few cents more or less. And how has that left XRP as of the 26th of January 2025? It's practically in the number 3 position on CoinMarketCap at a price that doesn't really reflect its value. It's sitting there at $3.2, which is a bit higher than where it actually peaked, but just to give you an idea. With a circulating supply of 57 billion coins and a market cap of nearly $180 billion. In fact, if we compare XRP with XRP, which we have here, basically, if we look at the all-time high, it would mean an appreciation of almost 50%. And reaching $190 billion, basically it would surpass by nearly 50% what XRP achieved in 2018 in terms of market capitalization, as we can see right here. In just 7 years, its market capitalization has increased by 50%, taking into account that the circulating supply since 2013 has gone from 7.8 billion tokens to nearly 60 billion tokens that we have today. And to dig a little deeper, to move a bit further into the matter, Ripple's XRP is preparing for an unlock of 1 billion tokens. What's next? This is basically about the scroll. This is basically how tokens are unlocked in XRP. Every month, 1 billion tokens are unlocked, and whatever isn't spent goes back. And usually, on average, between 60 and 70% return. And from here, we can start to calculate the following and come up with 2 hypotheses. One that is more likely, and another that we would all like to see happen. So let's bring out the amazing magic calculator. And what we're going to do is 1 billion cryptocurrencies times 70%. Basically, only 30% will actually be released each month. What would that mean? It would mean that every month, 300 million XRP cryptocurrencies will be unlocked. How much would that be in a year? Well, that would basically be 3,600,000,000 cryptocurrencies. In a year from now, that would be roughly 62,600,000,000 cryptocurrencies. All right. Now let's take into account the period from here until practically the year 2030, which would basically be when, if market cycles could be established, this cycle would end not this one, but the next, or in other words, that would be this amount multiplied by 5, resulting in a total of 18 billion new XRP cryptocurrencies that would appear from now until 2030 on average, and that's being generous, or in other words, 18,000 plus 59,000 would result in 77,000 XRP cryptocurrencies. Or in other words, 77% of the circulating supply. And it's from this point on that we can start to develop different metrics when we can begin to calculate various possible prices for XRP. Not only for what could happen in 2025, but also for what might happen in the coming years. With the first part of the hypothesis, which in my opinion is the most likely, we always have to base ourselves on probabilities, not on what we would like to happen. What we would like to happen doesn't matter at all in the market. We have to base ourselves on probabilities, on what is most likely, on what you can be more certain about, so to speak, that will be profitable for you. It's one thing to believe that something could happen with XRP and to hope that it would, and that this would make XRP reach $100, $1,000. And it's another thing to be responsible investors, taking profits step by step and really being sensible with a clear view of what could happen to the price of an asset. Well, just so you get an idea, the market cap of Ethereum comparing XRP with Ethereum, let's keep this in mind for the next cycle over the coming years. Because if I have to tell you how much XRP you need to become a millionaire in this cycle, it's too much. You won't have the money. The most important thing is to buy it during a bear market when XRP has dropped significantly, and at least try it then. If we compare it with Ethereum and go straight to its all-time high, Ethereum has reached almost 600 billion in market cap. Keep that in mind. That will mean the following: 600 billion. With the magic calculator, 600 billion divided by 77,000, that would result in a price for XRP of $7.80. If XRP were to reach the all-time high that Ethereum has had, taking into account the year 2030, and considering the amount of token unlocks that XRP will have, it would reach almost $8. Do I think that by 2030 XRP will reach $8? No, personally, I think it will go a bit higher, basically because of how M2 is progressing, global liquidity, and how cryptocurrency adoption and regulation are advancing. For me, what would make sense for XRP in the year 2030? For me, it would make sense for it to have this amount. This divided by 77,000. This results in a price for XRP of $13 by 2030. And taking this into account, how many cryptocurrencies do you need? Well, if I invested $60,000, 60,000 divided by 0.75, which would basically be buying XRP during a bear market, or what is assumed could be the price of XRP in a bear market, considering a drop of 70 or 80%, as has historically happened with most assets in a bear market. Dividing this by 0.75 would result in you having 80,000 XRP cryptocurrencies, which, if we multiply by the $13 we mentioned earlier for the year 2030, already taking into account that 1 trillion market cap, because that would be an American trillion in market cap. And at the same time, we would have 77 billion XRP cryptocurrencies in circulation. It would mean that you would indeed make $1 million. Taking into account that if you take profits along the way because you are a responsible person, you would obviously have to subtract a little from this. But this would be, frankly, and I want to go full screen here because I want to be completely realistic. This, to me, is the most realistic scenario we can currently have for XRP. And XRP is one of the best cryptocurrencies we have right now. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But just because it's one of the best cryptocurrencies we have right now, that doesn't mean we should get carried away or lose our head. We can't do that either. We have to be a rational investor. We have to be sensible investor. We have to be good investor. If only 10% of people make money in this sector, ask yourself what the other 90% are doing. The other 90% put in $100 and think they're going to become millionaires. That's the reality. The other 90% invest some money. It could be a lot. It could be a little, but they use it irresponsibly. They get carried away by emotions, stress, anxiety, or the advice of someone who has no idea what they're doing. And as a result, they drag someone else along who also has no idea. And both end up losing their money. Educate yourself. Invest in knowledge. Get to know yourself. Invest time in understanding who you are. It's called introspection because that's going to be extremely important when it comes to taking profit. What I just explained to you about XRP, I don't know if it's good news or bad news for you, but it's the knowledge of an investor who has been in cryptocurrency since 2017, who has lost a lot of money and has also made a lot of money. And thank God things are going relatively well these days, but we can't lose our heads over any cryptocurrency. Now we can talk about the other hypothesis. We can talk about XRP capturing 15% of everything, of all the SWIFT transactions on the planet, of all the money that is part of the current financial system, transitioning to ISO 20022, and XRP literally going to $1,000 or even $10,000. Johnny, but you don't need the same amount of money to flow into XRP and all that, because with the scroll, the circulating supply, the market cap isn't calculated that way. It's not the same money, and so on. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. But you still need a lot of money. You still need a lot of money. The argument of, no, the market cap isn't calculated exactly as market cap divided by supply and circulation, and you don't need the same amount of money because each dollar doesn't increase the market cap in the same way. Doesn't work for me. Yes, I know. Yes, I know all of that. But if that's the case, then why isn't XRP already at $15, $20, $40, or $50? It is money, and it needs a lot of money. And I'm the first one who wants XRP to reach $50, $100, $200, even $1,000. I'm the first one, obviously. I'm the first one who wants to make money. But we have to be sensible, keep our feet on the ground, take it step by step, think with a 10-year mindset, take profits along the way, learn along the way, keep growing the snowball bigger and bigger, and there will come a time when it's quite likely you won't even need XRP. It's quite likely that all you'll need is simply yourself, your knowledge, your way of being, your way of doing things with your strengths and weaknesses, but it's still earning and generating profits over time. Guys, that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Take care and see you next time.